following podcast may contain some adult language. You've been warned.
Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all nerds! International. With the hyphen.
Welcome to Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG Podcast. This is a show dedicated to the Genesys role-playing system created by Fantasy Flight Games, a show in which we, your hosts, discuss all things Genesys from both the player's and a GM's perspective. I am Tony Fanning, and with me, as always, are my good friends and co-hosts, Chris Holmes and Stefan Dragonspawn. How are we doing, Chris?
I am doing pretty good, though reeling from the TPK last night that my buddy Drew got, the 3 PC kill of the 5 of us in Eberron. But that's okay. Tenzo is no more. But it's created a nice little adventure for next time. I've created a heist adventure, my next heist adventure, called the Tricorpse Heist. So, don't want them to get the Karnath and etc. etc. And I'm doing good. I'm excited about this show tonight. And Stefan, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good as well. Not as much gaming as I'd like to, but got a bit of this itch scratched our last show we did the AP with Jamie. Other than that, I'm having some fun drawing. Getting back into drawing now. I've got a friend who plays Vampire the Masquerade, and he wants a drawing of their entire coterie or group of vampires.
Cool.
So I'm doing that, and I've started touching up old drawings I've got, and hopefully maybe putting them up on Drive-Thru-RPG for stock art.
Perfect.
So we'll see.
Very nice.
Nice. Haven't you done it?
Yeah.
Still sitting here all bloated and not so fresh from... we blew the stink off the grill today, and I grilled some filet mignon for the wife and the boys.
Preaching to my ears, brother.
So, yeah. It was wonderful.
Yes.
Awesome.
Other than that,
and hear all the vegetarians screaming, "Meat is murder!" Yes, meat is murder. Delicious
murder. I know. Tasty murder.
Yes. So we're going to do another show. We've done several of these in the past. We're doing another of our setting spotlights. We chose something long before we had the COVID-19 crisis. We chose to do the post-apocalyptic setting. So we're going to be doing episode 56, Setting Spotlight Post-Apocalypse.
Yes, almost prophetic.
That's right.
Well, we're mid-apocalypse right now, so...
Yeah.
True.
Let's go do it, fellas.
Yep, let's go. If I don't do it, I get spanked.
If you don't do it, you get spanked. And we're recording, by the way. Welcome to Boosting the Signal. How about that for some hot Genesys news? Stefan getting spanked. But anyway, no, we are boosting the signal now with Stefan. We'll boost your signal. Give us reviews and find some things up on the Foundry there. So what you got for us, bud?
That's it. More stuff is brand spanking new stuff on the Foundry.
I knew you'd do that.
That's it. There were quite a few because, we don't do this segment every show. Like last show was an actual play.
Right.
So there's a lot more, but not to take the whole show. I limited it to 3 things. One is the Xanagan Zealots by Chris Markham. He's been pretty prolific coming up with more things, supplements for the Realms of Terranoth setting. And in this one, he expounds a little bit more on the deities of Terranoth. So 14 new deities, gods, in this source book. Examples of each god's holy symbol, on the clergy of that deity, as well as some information for the GM, including stuff about Xanagan, the elven deities, and Zethian. I'm not sure about that.
So is this stuff that so is this stuff that Chris made himself, or was it stuff he pulled from sources from what is it?
I think he, if I remember, some Runebound and Descent. The various sometimes board games and other card games that are not role playing games as such, but he's tries to get some information from that, and I think he expands a bit on some of his own ideas. A little bit too.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So link in the show notes. $1 US, not so bad. Mm-hmm. And another one by Lazaro Izagiri called Superheroics with an exclamation point. $4.99 US. Kind of a compact superhero setting for Genesis. So it expands a bit on superheroics genre, and he includes pretty much all the basics you need to get started with 10 new talents that are focused on superheroes. So you can check that out as well. And lastly, by Michael Reyes, Psi, PSI, not pounds per square inch, but Psi, as in psionics. So in this one, you unlock the power of the mind using psychics in your Genesis games. I did actually, even though it's a bit pricey, I find, but there are quite a lot of pages, over 60 pages of crunch and stuff in it, well laid out. So I did buy it to look through it, since our own setting uses psionics as well. He does it a little differently, where he's got different skills instead that allow you to do different types of, let's say, actions. Okay. But it's still a pretty good source. It has 2 new archetypes, 5 careers, and lots of size skills and talents that go with it. So instead of using the standard magic talent, he's got at least 4 skills, if I remember from the PDF. So one skill will allow you to move stuff telekinetically. The other one allows you to read thoughts and stuff like that. And there's the standard description of what the skill does and doesn't do.
Oh, that's cool.
Which can help,
that's good.
Help out.
I think he's playing a mind game with us, charging us $5.01 instead of going the other way.
Exactly. Usually it's a cent less.
Got to be a mind game he's playing.
Yep. But it's pretty good. Then at the end, he's got some sample settings or genres that you can start a game with, and so forth. So it's pretty good if you want to check it out.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Stefan. We hope this little segment has boosted the signal enough to put something new and shiny on your radar, and it puts a couple extra dollars in the creators' pockets. Go out and buy something.
Welcome back, and now we're on to our second segment of the show called 50 Pieces of Awesome, where our friend Chris has scoured the internets and webs and stuff like that in the dark net to find something cool to put out there and talk about. What did you find this time, Chris?
Well, I actually went into the depths. Ha ha ha. Yes, that's the name of it. Of what I found by you guys are gonna fucking laugh. Dipakakis. I hope I pronounced that right.
Bless you.
I will be. Yeah, I know exactly. Gesundheit. He or she had me at for millennium. The dwarf empire of Akkad dominated 3 continents.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is a Nirn. It's the world of Magitech. And 17 pages of awesome, pretty much a player's guide to this world. Some neat art. that kind of draws you in right away on page 1 here. Almost kind of made me think of our Primordial Machina setting just a little bit there, Tony, because of the mixture of magic and technology, the whole treasure hunting guild, and this dwarf empire has been wiped out for almost, I don't know, hundreds of years or maybe a millennium or whatever it is, right? And then you're just trying to find all these ancient artifacts from them, trinkets, weapons, whatever. So at the core of this, there is Arcanics and Esper. So Arcanics is the complex formula of casting magic. Esper is more of your spiritual power, your healing magic, your connection to nature, that's not so technological, if you will. Almost kind of makes me think of Eberron, too, a little bit, only because of the magic is technology feelings, that kind of come from it.
Sure. I like the illustration on page 12, just below the description of ESP or Esper.
Oh, page 12?
Clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of a old city in the rocks with lots of...
That's some Elder Scrolls art. So his...
Yeah, or Dune-like...
He put in the at the very bottom of this that is where his inspirations came from, where his art came from and everything. This particular piece is from Elder Scrolls, which this is the dwarf empires that are abandoned in the Elder Scrolls games. So
yeah, so it's pretty slick. Actually, that next page 13, we should think about maybe putting this in Primordial Machina too. He has a table of this element interactions table where you have your listed element and what's vulnerable and what it resists. And if you resist an element, you get a boost die. If you're vulnerable to it, it's a setback die against you. That's a simple little mechanic. I mean, it's not bad. Kind of slick. And of course, the whole magic, the actions, what actions you can do for Arcanics or what actions you can do for Esper, that's listed. Added Mask and Predict in here as well from the Expanded Player's Guide. So this seems like it's fairly recent.
Yeah, I noticed he did not include the Transform.
Because that's Primal. That is Primal, yep.
Okay, so there's no Primal, it seems like, in the setting.
Nope, okay. It almost kind of rolled the, what do you call it, like Divine, and kind of used Esper and Divine, kind of exchanged that out.
Okay.
And then the last thing I want to say is on page 16, there is a craftsmanship table, where there's orcish craftsmanship or elven or stuff made out of ebony or these various materials, where you've got either what it does to damage, crit, your encumbrance, the price, and the rarity on it, and then whatever special properties that type of craftsmanship adds. That's a nice, compact, nice way of just kind of laying that out. So a gem here, I think. Pretty cool. Got a lot of potential, of potential.
Definitely.
I'd like to see the GM's portion when you're finished with it there, buddy. So, yeah, that's about all I have. It's well done.
Well, there you go. No, very good. Well, thank you, Dipikakix. Dipikakix?
Sweet, I'm not the only one.
No.
Is it Dipikasix?
Dipikasix, so that could be two.
Sounds good.
So you can reach out to us and tell us how we're supposed to pronounce that, and then we can exchange that for the 50 pieces of awesome that we'll do the transfer to you. You have a PayPal account, right?
Nice.
So there you go.
Okay, well, welcome back to the Books of Genesis. This is where we are going to break down. There it is. Tony, you all right over there? The post-apocalyptic setting from the Expanded Player's Guide. So if you want to open up your book to page 29, 28, 29 if you're in the PDF like myself. And we're going to talk post-apocalyptic stuff. Now, I watched Mad Max Fury Road the other day and just watched Mad Max 1980.
Right on.
Right before the show. So, yeah, I'm in the mood.
And I was watching Snowpiercer.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's another one. Awesome. There's plenty of them.
I mentioned it earlier, but post-apocalypse, it's a tough subject for some people. Maybe you should put this on the back burner if you don't want to, right now, if you don't want to cover that. I understand. But we're going to talk about it. We had it on our schedule since January to do, and we are set to have a conversation about it, including there's going to be some parts that are going to be kind of almost like present news. So,
the P word. We will mention the P word. So until you turn it off. So if you don't want to hear the P word, turn off the recording now. You've been warned. Okay, yeah. So pandemic is a type, and that's kind of what we want to start with talking about, right? What are the types of apocalypses?
Yes, I mean there's an overall theme that the apocalypse games will have, and that is that there's struggle. It's either a man versus nature type struggle, or a man versus his fellow man, or man versus monster type
to struggle to survive. That's
to
what
survive.
It comes down to.
And a lot of times it's going to be very gritty.
Yep.
But the most common one that we're used to is that we've had since we were kids, and since long before that, storytellers have been writing about, and that's after nuclear war, post-apocalypse.
Yep.
And I'll go into that one.
Yeah, I think post-apocalypse pretty much started with the threat of nuclear war, the Cold Wars, everyone threatening to blow each other up. So.
Yep.
Right. Yes, the threat of mutual assured destruction, so to speak.
Yeah,
pretty much.
The mad doctrine.
Time's over.
We've been living in that post Manhattan Project fear for over almost 70 years, and so a lot of stories have come out of that, and so this is going to be one of the most common ones. And with it comes a theme that there's going to be nuclear fallout, the scientifically dubious yet narratively fantastic nuclear winter, and an abundance of nuclear and toxic waste everywhere. So they give us, right here in this section about nuclear Holocaust type stuff, they give us this sidebar.
Yes, on page 29, yeah.
On 29, that covers radiation. And I love the name of the sidebar. That's a certain glow.
That's great.
Healthy green radiation glow.
And so they give you rules for how to deal with radiation. And that can be used for pretty much any lingering and damaging environmental effect.
Yep.
Whether it be radiation or, spores from a bioweapon or whatever.
That's it, because one of the things they mentioned that usually radiation sickness is not pleasant. If you have to go through the whole rigmarole and imitate reality, then that's not going to be fun. But they've made a simple version, at least with a hard resilience check to represent at least an effect.
Right. I mean, if you haven't seen Chernobyl on what do you call it, on HBO that they put out last year, that was gruesome looking. Oh my gosh, the radiation sickness and whatnot. Don't necessarily want to have that in my game. Now, coming upon bad guys and whatever, walking around with it, that's great. But my character going through that, just make me roll. Oh, I die? Sure. Let's move on. Yeah.
So, in this, you're going to roll a hard resilience check, and you can increase and decrease that by the difficulty based on the level of radiation in that area. So you can have levels of radiation that are going to state the difficulty, maybe level 1 through 5 of radiation.
Yep.
And then if you fail, you're going to suffer 1 level of radiation. Now that radiation is simple. you're going to reduce your wound and strain threshold by an amount equal to the number of levels of radiation you are currently suffering.
Gotcha.
So it's simple as that. And
so level 1 being you're furthest away from maybe it, right? The source of the radiation would be, you'd subtract 1 from your strain and wound thresholds. And then if it's level 5, then make that...
standing in the reactor of a nuclear submarine. As
That's
it's going
true.
critical.
That's right. Yeah. Warming your hands up. Oh, it's cold. Yeah.
And then they put in there some gear such as radiation suits, and anti-rad drugs will alleviate that in some way, and we'll get into that in the gear.
Cool.
But I wanted to mention this sidebar particularly. And one other thing that I missed is that another aspect of the radiation and the nuclear war, post-nuclear war setting is that post-nuclear war, or that those mutants that are out there, mutated humans. That's really the rise of mutants in a lot of stories happens after a nuclear holocaust or contact with radiation. And so you're going to see mutants more often in this kind of setting than some others.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mutated plants, mutated animals as well could be
Hulk smash.
Possible.
Well, that is a mutation in a way. I'm mixing genres there. Sorry. Though Trogdor, big arm coming out of your back. That third arm. Yeah, buddy.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
So who wants to take the next one?
All right, Chris.
I'll take this one. This is a favorite of mine, and we've been playing a bit of Zombie Side. This is your zombie apocalypse. Now, whether it's your George Romero slow-walking zombies or your fast-moving zombies or whatever, from like World War Z, eating the brains, however you want to do it, that's what this is. Now, is it created from a government lab and everybody's now wanting to feed on brains when you die? Is it I don't know, there's all kinds of different things that could create this. Just come up with them, and basically the dead rise, which
a campaign could be built around finding out what caused the zombie apocalypse.
Exactly.
Well,
and
like the movie 28 Days Later is a variation on zombies. Being zombies is some kind of biological thing that gets into your bloodstream and transforms you into blood murdering killer.
but what's different about this? What's really scary about this is that when the dead die, they rise up. So it's not like they're now gone, like the population has been culled. Well, they're now trying to eat you, right? So it really makes
numbers grow.
And their numbers grow as the more, So it's
If your comrades fall.
Yeah, and you have your small zones of peace, and there's all kinds of different levels of what you want to do with this campaign. And this would be a campaign you definitely want to have that session 0 with your players and talk about what's going to be fun. Are we going to be keeping track of every piece of ammo or every piece of food or whatever, And
I think this
is a struggle.
This particular type of post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse is maybe the easiest, more likely one to poke fun at.
Yeah.
Kind of like Shaun of the Dead.
Oh my gosh, I love that show.
A little bit tongue-in-cheek.
It could be. It totally could. You can mix in, have your zombies with a bit of glow to them if you'd like to, if you do want a little more of the tongue-in-cheek stuff related to zombies, what is it?
Z-Nation.
Z-Nation. Yep, you knew what I was thinking of on Sci-Fi Channel. Now, that show actually took it to a whole new level when they walked out of a cabin in the woods, and because they had to run away because there's a zombie tornado coming, and the one girl looks at the others like, well, as long as they weren't sharks, right? I mean, so... Yeah, those are the kinds of things.
Oh, no, zombie sharks. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, It's definitely a very campy show, but great RPG fodder for one shots or even for a campaign.
Yeah, even Zombieland, another movie I just thought of. Can be
again campy, but good.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, so Stefan, what's the next one here?
Yes, and the next one is another one that's fairly popular as technology increases and becomes more prevalent. Is the machine uprising, whether it's the manufacture of robots. Like some of our familiar "I'll Be Back" movies, or the AI that takes over control, which is everything.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, I know Kung Fu now.
That's awesome. I like this. I
need guns.
Quote. This quote is really good. How it's basically summed up with. Go ahead, Stefan. What is that quote?
Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we can create an AI. But don't connect it to the internet. Why not?
Exactly. Turn the control over.
Yeah.
Of our nuclear weapons to this thing.
Life will be so much easier. Why not?
Yep.
Hello, Skynet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life will be easier as a slave, I guess, or food, or as a power source.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being in technology myself, being a computer programmer and whatnot, this one kind of hits the heartstrings a little bit too, because I'm like, yeah, dude, I want to make Skynet. I don't want to ride in a car that will automatically drive me somewhere unless I program it myself. But
that's it.
It's a little scary, man.
And there's a lot of movies out there and TV shows that can for inspiration. The more popular ones with Arnold, of course, but there's quite a few out there. Depending on the setting, or the humans, resistance movements, are they actually slaves, like in the Matrix, and so forth. So there's a few ways of doing it. How the machines have arisen.
Alrighty. All right. What's our next one?
What's
there,
the
Tony?
next one? Tony?
Next one. Pandemic.
That's right.
So, there's roughly two kinds of pandemics out there. The natural kind, a.k.a. the one we are currently in, or the lab-made, man-made one, which, we're going to, that's going to be your 28 days later, the Rage virus, or your Resident Evil with the Umbrella Company making the T virus. The thing about it is, it's very, very much like the zombie apocalypse. The pandemic is going to be a slow-moving cataclysm in which society is going to crumble in huge chunks, and then characters surviving that pandemic are going to be faced with all kinds of threats, whether death cults or zombies or mutants or whatever. Whether it's a plague seeded from aliens from space, or whether it's a plague that came from man's laboratories and just got out, it doesn't matter.
Or magic.
It could or magic. It could mutate humankind and create mutants again, just like the nuclear fallout.
Exactly.
And again, we get a handy sidebar. Seems like I'm getting all of these. So we get the contagion sidebar, which tells us how to deal with a deadly disease that is out in the environment in Genesis, and that is going to be a daunting resilience check when dealing with a deadly disease. Failure means the character is going to suffer 3 wounds and 3 strain. Ouch! And they also suffer 1 wound and 1 strain for each threat that they generate.
Wow, dude.
If the check generates despair, the character doubles all the damage they take to wounds and strain.
Wow. That's nuts.
In addition, the character is now infected with the disease, and they can make other characters sick. And that's the thing. If you develop this disease, you have to develop how it is transmitted. Whether it is transmitted via physical contact, saliva, like body fluids, airborne, whether it's water-based, if people drink the water, they get it. Whether it's in the plants. There was that movie that came out where the plants were emitting spores that made everyone go insane. Either way, the character is infected, they can transmit it to other characters, and each day they're going to make that same daunting resilience check, or suffer the same consequences until they A, die, or B, recover. If they succeed and generate a triumph, they recover. If they succeed only, they just didn't take the damage that day. They linger on with the illness.
Yep. They haven't overcome it yet. Wow, you got to generate a triumph to overcome it.
Yeah,
wow,
that's like the first role I've really seen in Genesis where for something to happen, you have to generate a triumph.
Yeah, makes sense.
And as a GM, I would even say, not just a triumph, because not every character is going to have resilience ranks. So I just don't see, as a GM, if I was running it, I might say like 5 or more advantage could be used also.
Or true. Especially if they don't have any ranks and they don't spend a story point, wouldn't be you have really no chance.
It's a death. It's a permanent death sentence for the character unless they're spending a story point. And I don't see that as, like I said, I'd probably 5 or 6 would be my threshold.
And you know what I would
advantage.
do? You know what I would do too? I would actually, if somebody did make their daunting resilience check without any ranks, like maybe 3 in a row, I'd give them a free rank of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, here you go. You've got a free rank. You earned a free rank in resilience. You know what I mean? That's it. It all depends on the theme and how dark your campaign is, and those
if you
kinds
want
of
it to
things.
be super gritty, don't listen to me. It only takes a triumph. Let them waste away to death.
Exactly. Right.
A bit like radiation. If you're starting to be super realistic with diseases and stuff, you can really get into the details and
right.
But
and again, we're just talking like the sources, the types of the apocalypse that we'll be getting into, like the tropes and all those things here coming up as well. What you need to deal with after this happens. The next one is environmental collapse. So the first thing that came into my mind was 2012, right? 2012. That's one where the what was it? The tectonic plates shift. Your glaciers, your polar ice caps melt, basically covering the world in the water world. Oh, great movie!
Another one.
Yeah. Freaking.
The only saving grace of that movie is the villain.
I almost gotta watch that one again. Oh my gosh. Anyways,
there was the other movie as well, the End of Days, or where everything freezes over.
End of Tomorrow. Yeah, that was the one with what's his name?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Not Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow.
That's it.
There you go.
There's a lot of Tomorrow movies.
Yeah,
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Snowpiercer. I was watching earlier. Is an environmental collapse.
Absolutely. That's when the world froze over.
Of course,
kind of to the opposite.
Of course, when my husband watches some of these movies with environmental stuff, he says, that can never happen. No, that's not how it happens. That's not how weather goes. So it's not enjoyable for him. It's like, but you have to suspend your disbelief. Like, no, I can't. All right, fine.
You have to be you have to take movies for what they are. You kind of got to escape, turn your brain off, because Hollywood thinks we're stupid. Yeah, but so anyway, so this is your environmental collapse, a huge a worldwide environmental event happens, and you got to deal with it. You got to survive after it.
Yeah, that's it. Glaciers melt and sea levels rise, and now it's water world.
Super volcano. Oh yeah, super volcano. That's right. Dante's Peak. I think Dante's Peak was one. I think that was more of they stopped it. It didn't really turn into the whole.
Oh, maybe a regional apocalypse.
Right. So, so what's our last one? What's our last type of apocalypse?
The last one we mentioned a little bit sometimes with the others, the stellar phenomena. Apocalypse. So something beyond the stars, whether it's a comet that comes between the Earth and the Moon, cracking it and throwing the entire world into chaos.
Thundar the Barbarian!
Yeah. Or a spore, or some kind of living organism that attaches, to humans.
Tony, Stefan, ride!
Ride!
Yep. Oh,
Which one of us is Mukla and which one of us is Princess Ariel? Well, of course, I'm Princess Ariel.
You're Princess Ariel, jeez.
Chris looks like a mock.
I'm
look at him.
Mukla. Yeah, and that makes Tony Thunder. Yeah, buddy. So
That's right, I'm blonde.
Yeah. Well,
Are you, though?
Sword.
Yes. Yes.
Never mind.
That's true, you
I was
are.
going to
That's
ask a question,
right.
but never mind.
Yeah, so stellar phenomena. Yeah.
Yeah, alien microbes that could be deadly alien microbes, which is one could segue into the pandemic kind of thing.
Right.
The pandemic is of alien origin, or something like that throws the whole world upside down.
Oh yeah.
So you have lots of leeway on how they can happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do have one more. Well, we do have another sidebar, which I'll take because this actually is related to the environmental collapse, but it could also be applied to really any post-apocalyptic setting, to be honest. And those are the environmental hazards like dehydration. You can't heal when you do have like dehydration rules in effect. You won't be able to heal straight at the end of an encounter if you're dehydrated at that point. Let's see. You don't have to keep track of your party's water supply as long as you make a point of carrying water. However, if you generate a 3 threat or a despair, you can have like the characters run out of water, which is cool. And then there's also dealing with the heat and the cold as well. When you are in those extreme environments, 2 setback dice are fairly appropriate to add to checks that they would make. Gear would remove one of those depending on the type of gear they have. So that's fairly straightforward hazards to overcome and what they are as far as the environment goes. So
that's right. So we've talked about the themes that come with a post-apocalyptic game, but there's also tropes that are common amongst all the themes. And one of the things I didn't mention at the very top, and I want to, is that these could be common even if you started your post-apocalyptic game in a different setting. Because you could have a fantasy post-apocalypse or a steampunk post-apocalypse or modern post-apocalypse too. All that. But these tropes are common amongst them all. And I'll start off with the resource scarcity trope. So, resource scarcity, not scarcity, is
scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
Or resource scarcity. I mean, right? I mean, it's
depends on how you're reading it.
That's right.
So you see a big sign on
sure
Scar City. Oh.
That's right. I'm still reading from the left to the right. So,
yeah. So in a post-apocalyptic setting, people are reduced to scavengers and survivors, grubbing for among ruins for canned goods and rags. No one is staffing any means of production. So weird things gain value, like toilet paper.
Yeah. And Clorox wipes.
And Clorox wipes, yes.
And now flour.
Or meat.
And I think
just how scarce the various resources are depend largely on timing. Has been days or years since the apocalypse began.
Right.
Players have to tighten their belts and make do with what they find. Decades, generations, and centuries, they may find ways to produce some of those things again, but they'll never be mass-produced like they were back when society was thriving, right?
No,
right.
No industries, no factories. It's all back to medieval times, practically,
And
practically.
The keynote in this is that the last paragraph here, and that is that resource scarcity also informs the setting's technology level. It doesn't matter how advanced a society used to be when factories are buried deep in rubble. And by controlling the availability of certain resources, you can control the technology that players have access to.
That's right.
Well, that's it. Assault rifles are now, gold. Because you can
Bullets
find
are more valuable. Your assault rifle's just another fucking
worthless.
club.
Yeah,
Exactly.
very, very big club with a nice sight on it, maybe a telescope on it. That's about it.
And then, like I said, I was watching Mad Max, right? Gas is a prime commodity in that setting, and water.
They call it,
right?
Gasoline.
Gasoline, yeah.
Yeah, or Beyond Thunderdome, they managed to find a way to produce methane, but it's not, a factory. It's pigs.
Nice.
It's pig shit.
Thanks for spoiling it for me, Stefan. I'm going to watch it.
Movie was made in 1985. Shut up.
I know, there's some sort of...
And the character Master Blaster is two different characters. One tiny guy sitting on top of the big guy.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to name one of my post-apocalyptic characters Mudguts. That was the name of one of the characters in the Mad Max movie. So Mudguts, definitely. So yeah, resources.
Is he a swamp virgin?
Could be. Not anymore. No.
What's next, Chris?
Well, the next thing that we have, I guess it's segue with the Mad Max theme, kind of is the wasteland. This is your ultimate expression, as they say here, humanity versus nature in post-apocalyptic, because it's a wasteland. You need to struggle for survival here, right? But probably in the example here, so post nuclear or stellar phenomena setting where you have like this nuclear winter or whatever, there are radioactive deserts and areas you can't even go through. Pandemics could empty out cities that you wouldn't go to as well. Zombie hordes could be providing a less
very unfriendly environment.
A very unfriendly vacation area if you can't really go to the cabin, right? Because they're overrun with zombies up north or something. And then you have, and you also have, if, say, the polar ice caps melt and create this quote-unquote water world, it completely changes the perspective of the world you've lived in. What was that movie, 2012, right? Completely change it. They're on that big barge. Now they are on their quote-unquote water world, if you will. Creates a very different wasteland other than a deserty Australian outback in like the Mad Max movie. So however you want to do this, that's what your wasteland is here. It could be your ice in that, what was it, The Day After Tomorrow. The ice caps basically come all the way down through the middle of the United States, and that's where the polar ice caps come down to now, and that's all like frozen tundra. So, yeah.
One that comes to mind, I actually ran a game based on it a couple of cons ago, Con on the Cob, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, which is an old comic book where it was a bit ahead of its time, saying about the environment collapse, environmental apocalypse. Yep. People building these arcologies underground to survive, and when they come out 500 years later, instead of finding deserts, though, a lot of landscapes has changed, but now it's lush jungles for whatever reason. Yeah. And dinosaurs have come back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a neat
People
twist.
have to rediscover. Yeah, people still have to rediscover the land. They just rediscover farming, but they do have some aspect of technology, access to technology, but not advanced technology. They just had to learn a lot about recycling. But now they have to live and rediscover the whole land.
Exactly.
New York is now pretty much underwater.
Well, what's the next trope there, Stefan?
Then we go to the natural, let's say, byproduct of post-apocalyptic societal breakdown. So, governments are gone. Society has broken down. It's basically barbarism in most cases. The survivors have to scramble to collect, resources, power, equipment. So this could be world spanning. Could cover just a local area. Usually, if you're post-apocalyptic, it's no longer a global economy. So you just have to focus your campaign into a small area. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have your characters travel all over the world. But they have to live very differently now. Instead of being big governments, now they might have to deal with warlords or collectives. So mining and salvage towns that are attempting to subsist differently now.
I think the last sentence in the first paragraph sums it up. Might makes right. Survival becomes more important than morality, and humankind becomes its own worst enemy. Yeah. That's a deep theme there. That's dark. That's dark as shit.
That's it. When the main goal is survival, do you really care if you're a good person and help your neighbors? Like, no, I want my food and water.
And I think this is a prime example why shows like The Walking Dead are highly popular, because it goes into, all the depths that humanity will go through.
Yeah.
All the different psychological ways to look at the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And
people act.
What it does to people.
What do they ask? It's the three questions that the groups asked, right? It's like, how many people have you killed, right? There's like three questions that they asked.
Yeah. I don't remember them, but I know.
I can't remember. But it's something along those lines. It basically, you get there, if they're answering you truthfully, it kind of gets you an idea of, okay, well, that's what you had to do. And if you didn't have to kill somebody, you're fucking lying because you're still alive, right? I mean, it's one of those things, right? Where,
Well, that's what I like. The last little paragraph of this this trope. So, however your apocalypse shakes out, the collapse of society wipes the slate clean for everyone. What a person was before doesn't matter. What they are now does. Yeah. So you can have a character who was a mass murderer before. He escaped prison because society broke down, and now he's like, no one knows me.
Yeah,
I can start new.
Clean slate. I can be a new Joe.
And I've got this bat that has a nice, rusty barbed wire wrapped around it, and I call Lucille. No.
All right, so the next trope, pre-fall technology. So, and the enduring theme in a lot of post-apocalyptic settings is that the reverence with which old technology is held. And the first one that comes to me in the reverence of some piece of old technology would be an old alien post-apocalyptic movie, and that would be the book was much better, but oh gosh, darn it, it's drawing a total blank right at the moment.
Oh no, is that a tip of your brain?
Yeah, it's got John Travolta in it.
No. Oh, Battlefield Earth.
That's it.
There you go.
Battlefield Earth.
Yes. Great book. Movie.
Great book. Terrible movie.
But the level of reverence that they gave to old technology in that is what really made me think of that movie. Because they don't know what it does, but they found out that nukes are a thing and that they could go dig them up and use them. And they actually still work. But
even an old walkie-talkie kind of thing could be something like, ooh, we can talk to each other from far away.
Right. Exactly. So the level of old technology also depends on what your world was beforehand, and as a GM, you've got to kind of figure that out, and not just old world technologies, but even old world forbidden things like books. Imagine a guy walking around with a book, and books are forbidden. Would he be treated like a burned like a witch? What's that book about? You base like your whole society on Lord of the Rings. Or
you've seen Book of Eli, haven't you?
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Yeah, I've seen it. I wasn't pleased with it, but anyhow. Denzel
just a
Washington is an
cookbook.
amazing actor.
He is. Yep. Enough said.
But yeah, that's a great example right there, Chris. Those technologies, though, the important thing is that they're rare and they have this bit of reverence to them, whether it's treated as what's the word I'm searching for? Is treated as a bad thing or treated as a good thing, whichever. It's reverence, whether it's fear or whether it's
you could have
amazement.
You could have both. You could have both.
Yes.
One piece of technology could say, "This is the life giver." You know, it's a power plant or something that supplies power or fresh water.
I mean, you
but
can have
anything
a kid,
else is like, no, it's evil.
You can have a kid find a toy that the eyes light up red, and people think it's a witch. It's there's an evil spirit in there. It's red eyes, right? I mean, you could go wherever you want with it.
Like, oh my God, Teddy Ruxpin, it's talking. It's possessed.
Yeah, there would be a lot of fear in things that people couldn't understand in old technologies. So sure, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All
right. And then the last one, this is our Trogdor, right? With shit growing out your back. The other trope would be the mutants that we were talking about. Your exposure to the radiation or the alien microbes from the meteor that slammed into wherever. What do we want to get hit? No, I don't. I'm sorry. We shouldn't say that on the air. And it says, who doesn't like a good mutant horde? I mean, who doesn't? I would embrace them. Hugs for everybody, for all the mutants.
Why not?
Right? Free-armed hugs for me, yay!
And then this is
a huge head with arms growing out of his ears.
And then this is actually something that you can. This actually would make a very interesting dynamic in the group. This last paragraph here, including mutants into like playable options for players, could maybe. Other characters in the party are like, oh shit, he's a mutant. How do I react to that? Like, it makes me think of the Warhammer setting, right? Where mutants, you have mutants, evil, burn the witch, whatever, you gotta die, heresy, you can bring in those kinds of things with mutants.
And how apparent is the mutation? Is it just very subtle? Is it a superpower kind of thing? Or is it,
Right. When you open up your shirt... When you open up your shirt, is there like a dude in your chest just talking, right?
Quay.
Exactly, Tony. Exactly.
Or does he look like a cat person, instead?
Nope, my fur grows in strange places.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, so those are your tropes, the resource scarcity, the wastelands, the societal breakdown, the pre-fall technology, and the mutants. So speaking of what players can play, who wants to kick us off, man?
Options. Player options. Stefan.
All right. Well, segue into what Chris just mentioned. Mutants. Mutants presented here as a basic brute. So that's one of the basic ones. Mutations can be fickle. So you can start low. So usually physical stats can be emphasized. So this archetype, puts emphasis on brawn and some cunning at 2. Everything else at 1. And as a basic template. And then you can have some decent brawn and willpower, base 10 plus brawn or willpower.
For your wounds and strain. Yep.
Yeah. And then starting skills, they say,
well, they give you a lot of
resilience.
They give you a lot of experience points to really tweak. Yeah. Almost kind of reminds me of like the droids, right? From
Bioroids or droids.
Yeah, Bioroids, yeah.
So you can buy up to some of those attributes a little higher, and maybe some of those other abilities. So you start your starting skill, some ranking resilience. I guess being tough helps.
Well, not too tough. You're a fucking mutant. Right?
No, exactly. But still, but now you're toughened.
You must have failed it at some point.
Yeah, you failed it.
That was important.
It was important. Whatever.
And then they've got a special ability called Just a Scratch. So in making a check to recover strain, At the end of an encounter, they can make a resilience check instead of a discipline. So that's where the free rank can help. And in addition to recovering strain, they can spend 2 advantage from that check to recover a wound. So heal a wound as well as recover strain.
That's right. Mutants regenerate.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Especially if they have long claws. And before spending experience, you can get 1 ability out of a selection that represents some of the mutations that your character, either he can fly, he's amphibious, or he has a scaly hide, multiple limbs, or natural weapons. Snick.
I want to create Kevin Costner and be amphibious. Yay!
There you go.
I want gills.
Shut up, fish boy. All right.
Come here, you're going to be sushi tonight.
Next is the Sleeper. The Sleeper has awakened. The Sleepers are near perfect remnants of humanity. They existed before the apocalypse. They just came out of cryosleep. They've been in a hospital bed on drugs for 6 years. Who knows? Yeah. Or they've been locked away in a vault somewhere.
While the fallout was falling down, right? Yeah. From the nuclear winter. Okay.
So your Sleeper is going to have 2s across the board. It's going to have a starting wound and strain of 12, 100 XP. Basically your average human dude. But they're going to know something that these savages of the apocalypse aren't going to know. They're going to have ranks in the mechanics or computers, depending on the setting. And they obtain this rank before spending any XP. So
that's it.
And
skill from
then
their previous lives.
And then for their other special ability, they have, remember this? A Sleeper adds an advantage to all results of any checks they make to identify, use, or repair pre-apocalypse items. You want to be the ultimate scavenger that knows his shit about shit from before? Make a Sleeper.
That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, yes. This was an old RCA videotape recorder. Oh, no, it's beta. Damn. All right, throw it out.
What's next, Chris?
Oh, this was a hamster ball. I heard they use these in Canada for their internet. No.
There you go.
We could totally rig something up. No. All right.
Oh, definitely. It's the only way to get internet now.
That's right. So what's next is this is your Survivor. And they're riding out the apocalypse, trying to do what they can to survive, which gives them 2s across the board except for cunning. Their wound threshold is at 10 plus brawn. Their strain threshold is at 7 plus willpower because, well, they've been trying to survive, and their will has kind of been a little, going into the tanks a little bit. But they do start with 100 XP, which is nice. And they start with 1 rank in survival. Duh.
Makes sense.
Well, yeah.
Totally. And they're
Survivor better have a rank in survival.
Exactly. No, I've got a rank in skullduggery. No. Idiot.
Rank in charm.
That's right. Or charm, yeah. And then they're always prepared, which means when they make a check to heal strain at the end of the encounter, they'll heal 1 additional strain. So having such a low strain threshold, that's a neat special ability, and it's always one of those things, I survived, yay, another day.
Exactly.
So when you make these characters, careers that are in the core rulebook are just going to be fine because really your career in the apocalypse is you're a survivor anyway. So just about any career that the setting would normally have is going to be fine. But then you got specific gear.
Yeah. Nice.
And they give us a good chunk of it here.
They do.
And we don't need to go into every piece, but we do. No. I think we should cover the setting specific gear rules that apply here. And that is, I'll start it off with weapons and gear from the old days. So depending on what the world was like, Your characters could have access to laser pistols or railguns or crossbows and swords. It all depends. The GM needs to say, what was our pre-apocalyptic world? Much like when Chris and I developed our Primordial Machina setting, we said, okay, the world was magic is technology.
Yeah.
But since then, Steam tech has risen. And from that. And so there's old magic tech, which is ancient magic items, but the things you're going to find everyday average people making now in our setting was going to be steam weapons and things like that.
Yep. The steam-powered airships and such, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and GMs are encouraged to use their imagination on things from the past. But this particular setting is set to a modern as a default. So you'll see the things that in the gear that we point out are going to be things that you'd find modern world, modern technology.
Probably
levels,
go out to
maybe a little bit more advanced.
Probably can go out to into your garage and make these weapons.
Yep.
Basically, what's out there. So the next.
So who wants to talk about the next part?
I could take that if you'd like.
Right.
So,
Sure.
it kind of goes into, what's important now. Money probably won't be important. If you have an American dollar, you won't be able to use it. But if you have a frickin' bullet, you can get yourself a shot of whiskey. You see what I did there? A shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. So basically, we're talking a barter. Yeah, there we go. Cheers. A barter-based economy here. So it's not necessarily the credits you have. It's the stuff you have to trade back and forth. And if you take a step back and really think about what you have there, it could make for an interesting campaign. And you would do, and then the haggling would be your opposed negotiation checks, pretty much. And it's, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, and as a GM, you want your NPCs to always want that piece of gear that characters want to keep, but they'll take what characters are willing to give up for a lesser value. But what has value to the player will also have value to the adversaries.
Right, and so putting a price in the tables here gives you an idea of what it's actually worth, not necessarily in credits, but for instance, if we take a shiv as opposed to a nail bat, nail bat's worth 100 credits or piece of barter pieces if you'd like. So
we're going to call them pieces of awesome.
Pieces of awesome. That's right. Pieces of awesome. So you got 100 pieces of awesome for a nail bat, 50 for a shiv. Hey, I'll give you 2 shivs for that nail bat, Negan. No, you don't want to give it to me? All right, that's fine.
You named
I
it.
think
It's worth more.
It's worth more. That's right. Yeah, you need 4 shivs at least.
I think you could also port from Shadow of the Beanstalk the whole favor system as well. Instead
That's actually a good idea, Stefan.
If you don't have possessions, okay, you want 3 chickens for this? I don't have chickens. I'll do you a favor.
Yeah, but really, would you trust me, Stefan, to follow up on that favor? Post-apocalyptic, man. I'm a barbarian now. Right,
maybe,
fucker.
but it's a small community. If you don't honor your favors or your word, it'll get around and people will never trust you. So.
Right,
there's
in a tight-knit community, you could very well use it for that. If you're wandering the wasteland and meeting strangers, probably not.
Probably not,
but,
yeah.
But it is a great idea. I think that'd be incorporated if you were going to run a small society of post-apocalyptic people trying to, very much like The Walking Dead. So and so knows how to fix things. He's real good with his hands. Hey, can you come over and work on my toaster? And I'll bake you a cake. I'll bake Carol's cookies.
There you go. There's that.
Because I have this very rare book that survived the apocalypse. It's all about Nigella's recipe book.
No, her name was Betty Crocker, baby. All right, so let's talk about some of these weapons.
This guy Ramsey. About that.
Well, or do you want
I think we should mention the sidebar here.
Go for it.
Stefan, if you want to cover that.
Oh, Stefan, yeah.
Yes, it's my turn to do a sidebar. Sidebar, Your Honor. Thank you.
Please.
Scavenged weapons and armor. So one popular trope, of course, of post-apocalyptic settings is that most weapons and gear are usually scavenged or made, wholesale or homemade. So you can see, especially in movies and art sometimes, people using a stop sign as a shield or an iron pot as a helmet. All the weapons and armor usually mentioned are usually scavenged. Whenever a character makes a skill check, they say like using, wearing or carrying some scavenged weapons, the GM may spend 2 threat or despair from that check to have that piece of equipment, weapon, armor, whatever, be damaged because it's not made by an armorer or professionally or mass produced. So it's not made to resist bullets and stuff.
True.
So homemade versions versus regular items of regular items. Sorry. So the setting may include a whole list of items. They say here in the sidebar, but it's not unreasonable for PCs to attempt to build something homemade, a homemade version of an item. Attempting that at GM's approval, of course. Then he just has to find, of course, the raw materials that could logically be used. If he's trying to build or repair a toaster, okay, you'll need some heating elements and springs and electrical source, etc. And so it might require a mechanics check, depending on the rarity. That's where you can use the table I.51 on page 82 of the core rulebook. Mm-hmm. To see to get the difficulty of the item to manufacture or repair, whatever, depending on how rare the item was before, as a gauge. So if he succeeds, then they manage to obtain the item, but the price might be half the value because it's scavenged, not quality materials.
Nice.
Yeah, I was looking at that table. And a formidable check to make a military strategic bomber.
There we go.
Yeah, homemade strategic. Yeah, go ahead, take that up in flight.
Yeah, that's it.
Why don't you upgrade that fucker about 4 times too while you make your piloting check? Good.
Yeah, that's when the princess says, "You came here in that. You're braver than I thought."
Exactly.
All right, so let's get into some of our favorites of the equipment.
Oh yeah.
So, Chris, I know you've got one favorite. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? You'll probably see this a little later on in the show. Maybe. It's the fucking nail bat. Come on, man. That's like, though my actual weapon / tool of choice is not in here for post-apocalypse. But it would function like a nail bat, right? So basically it's length of wood with nails or spikes or barbed wire driven into it, wrapped around it. And, of course, you have to name it, if you would. And the nail bat obviously would use melee. You'll add +3 to your brawn when doing damage. Crit of 2. Vicious 2 as well. Yeah, because it's got fucking nails out of it.
Nails and razor wire.
Yeah, so it's a fairly simple... You can make it out of really a lot of... You get a stick of wood and a bunch of bats. Go to a hardware store. Go to a sporting goods store. Break into one. Go find some fucking bats. Do it. What do you have? What's your favorite there that you found there, Stefan?
Oh, there's a few. I like the Thunder Stick because it reminds me of the old Army of Darkness. This is a boomstick, but even lower tech than that. So basically, it's just almost like a shotgun round at the end of a stick.
Right.
Thunder Sticks are simple, brutal weapons that are a little more than an explosive charge tied to the end of a long pole.
Exactly.
Witness me!
Exactly. Witness me! Yeah, the dude jumping off the back of the freaking what do you call it? Car in Fury Road.
Typically thrown as a javelin, but sometimes we wield it as melee weapon. So just stick the charged end at the enemy.
That's right.
I like the last part of it.
Yeah, so when your character makes a combat check with a Thunder Stick, the GM may spend, of course, 2 threat, or of course the despair, to have the character suffer 5 wounds.
4 wounds, but still, yeah.
I was holding it by the wrong end. Sorry.
Put a little too many explosives at the end of that stick.
That's it.
How about you, Tony? What's your choice?
I mean, anybody can make a shiv.
That's right.
Shit, that's a great little bit of a weapon there. I like it. But, it's just a knife that you've made, and you got 100 different ways to make one. Like you said, my weapon of choice in the apocalypse isn't even on here. My weapon of choice in the apocalypse is a machete. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Because I can use a machete all over the place.
Yep.
So
well,
I would build a machete shiv. I would make one. If I don't have a machete, which, by the way, it's a prerequisite when you marry into my family, you're issued a machete in your wedding. Everyone gets one.
Nice. Is that
for the pending apocalypse?
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Well, that could fall under the leaf spring sword then.
It could. It could. Yeah, my weapon tool of choice would be that curved.
Yeah. The raven.
Say it.
Bar?
No, just a crowbar. Yeah,
crowbar. Yes.
Yeah, dude, you can open shit with it.
Yeah.
A raven stick? I think Stefan was trying to be punny.
I know he was. He was trying to be punny.
Yes.
Yeah, you can open shit with it. You can bash zombies in the brain with it. You can stick people with it. And you can...
It's pretty durable.
You can block that fucking machete from Tony's family coming at you if you need to.
There'd be 7 people with machetes all at once. You ain't blocking all of them.
Whirlwind. Whirlwind attack. Need to add a talent. Whirlwind. Anyway.
Whirlwind parry. There you go. Crowbar specialist.
Yep.
All right. Well, they only add 2 bits of armor, and the 2 bits of armor are both good. And you see them in all the different post-apo. Like Stefan said, you could add that stop sign shield to that list easily.
Absolutely.
But homespun armor and the sports pads, those, I mean, they make sense.
Yeah.
But other gear, what have we got? Anything good?
Well, of course, the very popular anti-rad drugs, if you're running the post-nuclear apocalypse.
Yep.
So you'll have to run after those. Like, oh no, I've accumulated 3 levels. Crap.
Right. I'd probably start with
my hair's falling out again.
I'd start with the survival kit first. That's your first aid kit, fire starter, fishing lines, hooks, compass.
The adventurers kit.
Yeah. My Rambo knife. Right?
Bowie.
Well, there's the
Bowie knife.
There's the apocalyptic version and then the pre-apocalyptic version,
exactly.
which I think is great. Because a real survival kit that you can go out and buy now, like a real quality one, that'd be worth something in the future. One that's hodgepodge piled together by survivors later, maybe not so much.
Right. Yeah, and here for their survival kit, it'll add an advantage to all your survival skill checks. A pre-apocalypse one would add a success and an advantage to your check. So, like Tony said, more valuable, a little more better mechanically instead.
That's it. Now, I like the fact that they include as gear clean water.
Yes. Plain water.
It is.
It's gear.
It's a commodity. It could be a commodity. It could be a
lifesaver.
It could be credit.
Yeah.
Scrap is an assault. That's important.
My personal favorite is the H.R. Giger counter. That'll tell you how many H.R. Giger paintings. No, it's a Geiger counter. It tells you how much radiation you're coming into. It'd be a nice little bit of information to have if you're wandering around the post-apocalyptic wasteland.
That's right.
No, having something that goes.
That's right.
When you get near my character would probably help you.
That's right. Unless you want that certain glow. Oh, you're glowing. You're not pregnant. You didn't just have sex. You're fucking sick.
Excellent.
And by the way, you got that arm sticking out of you that's giving me the finger.
Yeah, that's Bill.
That's Bill.
Say hi to Bill.
I'm just wondering why I don't become big and green and want to smash stuff.
Now, pre-apocalypse rations. Pretty sure
Can of pork and beans.
Twinkies, baby. Those will go on forever, right? Yeah, maybe.
There comes a time. There will come a time.
When they won't. I know.
When a man will spend an entire movie trying to find a Twinkie. Just saying.
Exactly.
And cans of Spam.
Zombie world.
He's got a can of Spam, and he's trying to look for that key that just opens the can.
Actually, no, it was Snowballs. It was Snowballs he was looking for in Zombie World, wasn't it?
It's Twinkies.
It was
he
Twinkies.
found Snowballs.
Oh, but he found, that's right, and he got pissed.
Threw a fit.
Fucking take Snowballs, and he got pissed. That's awesome. Sorry, didn't mean to ruin it. But the movie's been out for over 10 years. Go watch it.
There you go.
All right, so we have a couple adversaries, too. Now, on the GM side of this, you've got some standard ones. Mm-hmm. I think we'll each pick a favorite and go over it.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So, whose turn is it?
Go ahead, Tony.
I have no idea.
Start.
I think it might be yours, Tony.
My personal favorite is going to be the Rad Gator. All right.
You are my brother from another mother, dude. That was the one I was going to pick, too.
Well, now you got to pick something different.
I will. Don't worry, I will.
No, the Rad Gator. So this is in the aftermath of nuclear war. Even animals can be warped by radiation. Our Rad Gator could have started out as a reptile or amphibian. Could have started out as a lot of things. Yeah. Mutating it into an 8-legged, acid-spitting monster. That's right. It's an acid-spitting dragon.
Fuck. So I was golfing.
It's a black dragon.
I was golfing at the Disney golf course while I was down in Orlando. Saw a big 7-foot gator about 150 yards away, just walking across. I'm up on the tee. I'm like, hey, honey, you see that? And she's like, yeah, I see it. And we're just let him walk on his way. The big fucking gator. And he only had 4 legs. I can only imagine one with 8.
I'd mutate him even further and have all 8 legs be like spider legs, and you've got an even creepier creature.
Well, that's it. And you can only be appeased by swamp versions.
There we go.
So it's a tank. This thing is got 40 wounds. It's big. It's got 5 brawn. It's not smart. It's got some willpower because it's stubborn as all get out. But I mean, just not a lot of strain either. But yeah, that thing, 40 wounds for one
and
creature.
8 soak.
Yeah, and an 8 soak.
Yeah, it's not.
You're gonna hurt it with a zip gun. You're not.
Yeah, it's Silhouette 2. It's 8-legged. It can't be knocked prone or immobilized, which is cool. Yeah. So it's amphibious. It's got this real cool ability called the Death Roll.
Oh, read that.
Where
that is so fucking cool.
When this character makes a successful brawl check against an immobilized target, it can inflict a critical wound without spending any advantage or a triumph, and it can still spend them to increase the difficulty or increase the give +10 to the result. Mm-hmm. So just nasty. Got huge jaws that do 10 damage. Holy crap. Yeah. With ensnare. That's right. So this creature has ensnare. It bites. It spends 2 advantage to ensnare, and now it may immediately crit for free.
Yeah, because it will death roll on your ass and roll you over.
And then the last thing, it's got a ranged attack because, I mean, can't have a gator, an acid-spitting gator without an acid spit.
Because Rad Gator.
Rad Gator.
So it spits acid. It's got a range of short, so it's not getting very far with it, but Pierce 4! Holy cats!
And Thunder.
Thunder. And Burn 2. Yeah. That thing's
going to damage some of your...
beast.
Yeah, so your stop sign shield will get and then my arm.
That's so not gonna work. That stop sign shield is just gonna be so fucked there, Stefan.
Oh, exactly. You need a detour shield instead.
Yeah, you know it.
Thing's gonna melt your shit.
My crowbar will be melted. Tony's his whole family, all of the machetes will be melted.
We get Chris. What's your favorite?
My favorite?
Besides the Rad Gator.
Go ahead, Stefan. You pick. I'll go last.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
what's your favorite?
Of course. Well, we're in the mutant family, so the irradiated mutant, of course.
Nice.
So yes. So he's pretty tough. Not as tough as, of course, a Rad Gator, but he's your rank and file minion of irradiated mutants, whether they've got 3 arms or a tongue that paralyzes you, whatever, or wings or gliders. So they're pretty. They can be tough in gangs. They've got the radioactive ability. So at the end of an encounter in which a target was hit by combat from this character, you have to make a hard resilience check or suffer 1 level of radiation.
Oh,
Nice.
ouch.
Because they also have that certain glow, and they want to share it.
Hugs all around.
Yeah, exactly. No, 6 feet apart, 6 feet. So, but they don't understand that, so they want to grab their filthy claws, which does 5 damage, and of course vicious 2. So they can rend you, and then that's when you get that nice glow afterwards.
Nice.
Nasty. Now they're a minion, and I wanted to mention, because I forgot to mention, that the Radgator was a nemesis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
What about you, Chris?
My favorite one after the Radgator is the Warlord. Who's gonna frickin' lead all of these crazies? You know?
Yeah.
Witness me! You know, this is your nemesis, Warlord nemesis, man. He's got a pretty damn tough brawn of 4, cunning of 3, presence of 3, but when we're looking at these skills, you know, coercion of 4. You know, a leadership of 2, but who needs leadership when you can coerce somebody and beat the shit out of them, right? They have
Do it or not.
Exactly. Adversary 2. So anything against this guy is going to be upgraded twice, or gal, mind you. That would
Could be a gal. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
look at Dread, the movie, the Warlord.
Oh
Natch.
hell yeah, she was badass.
She was badass.
Ruthless.
Mama was a badass.
That's right. And we've got a couple of abilities, special abilities. Might makes right. So after this character inflicts a crit, it could decrease the difficulty of all coercion and leadership check they make by 1. So when you inflict a crit on somebody, you can decrease your coercion and leadership checks down to easy, which is not bad, till the end of the encounter. And you can...
That's not their worst ability.
No. And you know what? I'm always right. Right, Tony? I'm always right. No.
Yeah, until you're proven wrong, but yes.
Well, I was wrong once, but that's when I thought I was wrong, but I was really right. Anyways, so they can make a hard leadership check. If successful, allies within medium range can perform a second maneuver during their turn without suffering strain. That's pretty good. Now, during their turn, that would be during the allies' turn, right? Mm-hmm. They don't suffer strain. Okay, that's good.
So those minions, those irradiated mutants can act more.
Yeah, they don't have to spend... Right.
Yeah.
And then you could spend 1 advantage to increase the damage of affected allies by an amount equal to your number of advantage spent. And this lasts to the end of your next turn. So, bashing somebody with crits, getting that easy leadership check, spending your advantage on it to give your buddies more damage, holy buckets. That's going to fucking be nasty.
That's a cool 1-2 punch.
Oh, yeah. The synergy of those are pretty sweet. So he's got the heavy revolver, damage 7, crit 3, pretty straightforward, limited ammo of 5, accurate 1. But, of course, the aluminum bat wrapped in barbed wire. I guess they can go with wooden bat because it could be copyright infringement there. But, damage 7, crit 3.
Vicious a warlord. 3. He gets all the best equipment.
Well, Vicious 3, they upgraded that. So it's an aluminum bat. Instead of like a nail bat, it's like an aluminum bat wrapped in barbed wire. Ow! Then
his last item is his most important.
The megaphone or the spiky armor?
the megaphone!
Yeah, exactly. Bitch, I'm coming after you!
Got to reach all those minions with those those leadership checks.
Exactly. The spiky armor is kind of cool, though. If you're targeted by melee combat check, you could spend 2 threat or a despair to have them suffer 2 wounds. Who hits you? Oh, I hit your spiky armor. Nice.
That's it. Oh, my groin!
Exactly. Well, do we want to mention what's in this sidebar? I don't know if I remember reading the sidebar. There's a a nice apocalypse.
This is one I mentioned when we first did our review of the book.
Right.
And this is the Have a Nice Apocalypse. It's basically, listen, there's 2 types of post-apocalyptic game. There's the fun game, and then there's the gritty, real gritty, not fun game. And we've talked about that. And if you're one of those guys, and there's a few, or gals, there's a few of you out there, GMs, players, that really want that gritty game that is, where you track every bullet, where you cover really heavy, dark themes that are going to come up, then yeah. But make sure you boilerplate that and talk about it before you're setting.
Yeah, you have that session 0 with your players.
Otherwise,
well, that's it. Is your character the kind who's going to hide that bite mark from the zombie?
and otherwise the rest of us are going to enjoy campy post-apocalyptic games where we're laughing and we're telling jokes and what we've been doing this entire episode, bringing up things from our favorite post-apocalyptic movies.
Yep.
That's what makes a post-apocalyptic game fun. It's not as grim. You're big damn heroes in this post-apocalyptic universe, and you're going to make your mark on it, right before you burn out and die.
Yeah. Exactly. So you're taking a grim situation, but at least turning it a bit on its ear and having a bit of humor and fun, because that's what we're here to do as well. We're playing games with each other to have fun, even if it is grim and dark, whether it's Mad Max or anything else.
I mean, the last sentence kind of summarizes that with, for example, players have only one round for their pistol, and they're saving it for themselves. Well, not players, but the characters. The characters. Jeez, that is pretty dark. Shit, my character died.
I think if you're at that point, maybe gaming might not be for you. There might be. Right. I think there may be some therapy in your future.
Pretty sure they meant player characters there.
Yeah.
And as I was reading it, I'm like, oh wow, that is dark.
All right. Boy. Well, I think we beat the post-apocalyptic setting into the apocalypse
with that nail bat. Woohoo!
Yes.
Slice it up with that machete.
Shall we go on to the next section and maybe see what's on the slab?
Yes, I think so. All right, and now on to our next section that Tony will be talking about, called On The Slab. So in this one, Tony chooses an adversary from one of the many books, and we'll go through it. No sarcasm there at all.
No, none. By the way, you got something dripping from your corner of your mouth there. It's called sarcasm.
Sorry. So what's on the slab today, Tony?
Well, it's the Reanimate from the Realms of Terranoth section, because zombies. So we talked about zombie apocalypse, and so I've chosen a theme where you could totally rewrite the Reanimate as other minion types, as rivals, and even a nemesis. So the Reanimate, what is it? Well, it's the backbone of undead forces, right? It's a zombie. It's zombie fodder, so to speak. Yes, it was best word. So I've chosen as a theme the Left 4 Dead 2 zombies from the Left 4 Dead 2 video game, where you had several different special types of undead. You had your regular zombies. These are your shambling undead, and they stop shambling when they see people. They start charging.
Nice.
And there were a couple different types. So what you had is you had a hunter, a smoker, a charger, and a jockey. Those were minion types of zombies. They were hidden amongst the zombies. Your hunter was one that was equipped with stealth. So first I want to go over what the Reanimate is, and that is it's a minion. So it's got group wound threshold, 4 wounds per minion in the group, with a soak of 3. It's just got a brawn 2, agility 2, cunning 2, and then everything else is 1. And these ones in Realms of Terranoth wear armor. So they have defense. You could probably do away with the defense.
Yeah.
And then they all have the ability that they're undead, so they don't need to breathe, they don't drink. That's going to stay. Their undying ability, you may spend a threat from any check made by a PC, this is as a GM, to return one previously defeated reanimate. Mm-hmm. So just adding another one. They didn't hit it in the head.
3 threat.
Yeah, 3 threat.
Gotcha.
Did I say 2?
No, you just said a threat. So 3 threat.
It's 3 threat. Mm-hmm. Or you may spend a despair to return 2 reanimates to a group.
That's great. I love that ability.
Now, we're not going to give them any gear because we're going to have just the regular ones that are like that, right? That's your regular one like that. Right. They're going to have a basic brawl attack that's going to be equal to their brawn and nothing more. That's all. Maybe a bite that does, can infect you or whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, they travel in large numbers, but then they have amongst them these special minion infected. Your hunter is going to have, instead of just a rank in brawn and a rank in resilience and a rank in vigilance, they're going to have a rank in stealth. They're sneaky.
There you go.
And they're going to have attached to them long claws that they can grab a hold of you, because the hunters would jump on you from behind and they would grab a hold of you and they would claw you with these raking claws.
Nice.
So you would give them a claw attack. Then you have the smoker. The smoker was basically a zombie that's on fire. And this thing, you would give its attacks instead nothing more than the burn quality.
There you go.
That would make your smoker unique.
For a minion, you would do what? Maybe burn 2, burn 1?
Yeah, burn 2. Not too much.
Yeah.
That could be radiation too. Radiation burn.
Right. Then we had the charger. Now the charger was one that would it would charge through all the other zombies and hit you and knock you down. So you're going to give it a couple of things. One, you're going to give it the swift talent so that it can treat any terrain as a terrain that it can just charge over.
Right.
And then the other thing you're going to do is you're going to give them their attack knockdown.
Gotcha.
So, and it's all brawn. All these are brawl. Excuse me. All these creatures are using brawl.
Yep.
And then the last one is the jockey, and the jockey would jump on your head and blind you and drive you into hordes of zombies, and it would ride you like that, and it would just not latch onto your head. And so to get a jockey, you would give its brawl attack ensnare, so that it could ensnare you and guide you into
the charger's path.
Yes. And it would
which looks like a linebacker
towards the hordes of other zombies. So
wow.
And then we go into the rival ones, and I see a spelling error in my show notes, but we had 2 different rival ones, and one is the boomer, and the other would be the spitter. Now they would have the attacks of your other zombies. Now your boomer was this big, huge, fat zombie, and they would walk into a group of survivors or get as close as they could to a survivor, and then they'd explode. And they just cover you with this acid that burns you up. So your boomer is going to be fatter. It's going to be a little heavier. It's going to be a rival. So instead of having just 4 wounds per minion, you're going to give it 12 to 14 wounds. You want it to have enough wounds to be able to get close to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
high brawn and low agility, maybe.
Yes, a high brawn and a low agility. You want a brawn of around 4, so it can just move other zombies out of its way to get to those characters, because it's really hoping to suicide bomb when it gets there.
Nice.
And so you want to create this blast attack that it's got, and it would have a couple ranks in ranged, 1 or 2, so that when it gets close to you, it uses this ranged attack. And this ranged attack is going to have blast. It's probably going to do a lot of damage. It's going to have burn, and it's going to have sunder. That will represent the acid part.
Gotcha.
So the burn, it's going to burn through. It's going to do continuous damage. The acid part of it, the other acid part of it, it's sunder. It's going to corrode things. And then the blast, of course, is it exploding and spreading that all over everyone.
Affecting multiple targets.
Put it at around 6 to 7 damage for the initial damage of it.
Yeah.
And blast.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah, because once the boomer has done his attack, he's gone.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about him.
Would you give him adversary or no?
Nope.
Nah.
I wouldn't give him adversary because he's a one and done. He's going to run in, explode, and be done.
He's a
no
bomb.
need for adversary. Now, the spitter, on the other hand, spitter is one that is smaller. It has the same acid-like affliction, but instead it travels in a sneaky way through the zombie horde, and all of a sudden it'll spit acid on you from a very short range, but it spits it all over you. And again, we're talking just like the Radgator. We're talking acid spit. It's going to have burn. It's going to have maybe give it vicious. And it's going to have sunder, and it can do that over and over. So that you may want to give a rank of adversary.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
That's it. And
Then the last two types of...
And the player characters may think that this spitter is a jockey. It's like, oh, no, we don't want him to sit on our heads. Like, no, he's staying just outside of range and just spitting on you.
That's just because that's what jockeys would do too. They would wait until your back was turned to them, then they jump on your back and they...
Nice.
There we go.
So then we have the two nemesis kind, and these were the ones you really feared in the video game. And again, as nemesis, honestly, you have two. You have one that's a tanker. Now, the tanker or the tank is this huge zombie. It's like a melding of multiple zombies into one big body. It's twice the size of Shaquille O'Neal, kind of big, just monster. This thing can throw cars. Okay, so you want it. The Radgator is a great place to start for it. 40 wounds is not unfeasible.
Yeah, there you go.
And give it the ability to throw any object that it can get a hold of, and it's going to be silhouette too, and it's going to have a couple ranks in range so that it can throw cars.
It's an ogre.
Can throw other zombies at you. It's going to be, and it's also going to have a lot of soak. You want 7 or 8 soak on this thing because little bullets aren't going to hurt it. People are going to want to toss bombs at it to blow it up.
True.
Think cave troll from Lord of the Rings, the size maybe.
Yep. And the last type that they had in the game was the witch, another nemesis. Oh, I'm sorry. And the tanker, you wanted him to have a lot of wounds. Strain threshold doesn't matter. 11, 12 strain, that's all you need. The witch, on the other hand, she had this really bad ability, really nasty ability. Her scream would immobilize people. So she was kind of like a banshee. So give her some strain to be able to use that. So you want her to be more like 15 or 20 wounds and then like 15 or 20 strain, right around the same amount. She's going to be very agile because she's extremely fast. I would give her also ranks in adversary. The tank would have ranks in adversary. I tell you, the two were equally feared, but I feared the witch more in the video game, so I would crank her up to adversary 3 and have adversary 2 on the tank.
Gotcha.
And with the witch, she'd have some sort of scream ability that she could hit with at medium range, and then her claws would be deadly because what she would do, she would scream at you to immobilize you, and then when she got on top of you, she would shred you. And her claws would just move super fast. She had big, long, nasty claws, and she'd just shred you. So the claws are going to have pierce, probably pierce 4. They're going to be vicious, and they're going to do a crap ton of damage. Probably her brawn of 2 plus 3. So 5 damage. And then, 5 agility on her. She is pretty nasty.
Yeah. Wow, that would be nasty.
That's when your manicurist character comes into play.
Give her that ability. What is it, like finesse or something, where she links her agility to her brawn checks to attack with, to hit with.
And she would also have a tremendous cunning because the witches would sit and they would cry like a child. And you would think it was a child around the corner that you were going to rescue. Of course, everybody who played the game for more than one level knew that's a freaking witch, stay the hell away from it. Because you'd round the corner, all of a sudden it would look at you, and then it would run right at you, screaming and shredding you limb from limb.
Nice.
So that's just a quick theory crafting of how to do one particular monster at multiple levels.
Right. That's
so
good.
you could do this if you wanted to make any type of monster, whether it be a bear or something that you want to be varying different levels of it. You could just theory craft. Okay, where do I want it to go? What do I want it to advance to? And then give it different steps along the way. Give it tweaks and just little touches.
Cool. Well done, dude. Yeah, those are great ideas. Definitely.
And if you haven't played Left 4 Dead 2, it's available on Steam. Go get it. It's a fun game.
Wow. Sounds like it. Can't wait to go see, that screaming baby. And then get mauled by the witch. Nice.
Save all the babies.
All right. Well, shall we go to our next segment then?
Yeah.
I think so.
Right,
our favorite one.
All right. Well done, Tony.
Welcome to Advantageous Threats. This is where we build, roll, and narrate the die results on some sample skill checks for our entertainment and hopefully for yours. And we're going to shake it up today. Our good friend Stefan here has been inspired and would like to run Chris and I through a little scenario. So what you got, bud?
All right. So, of course, inspired by our post-apocalyptic setting discussion that we had before. So the world has been devastated by war, and our characters, our two heroes here, are part of a remote settlement. Unfortunately, the settlement has been stricken by radiation sickness when raiders attacked recently. No! So the best two warriors are tasked by their shaman or medicine woman, Maite, says, no, I'm sure there's some anti-rad medicines in the old research facility of Stark Industries somewhere in the jungle nearby. So you have to go. We can't spare any more warriors, but you're our two best. And of course, everyone knows that this research facility has a sentry robot. That's part of the defenses. But you're pretty sure you can get past that old clunker.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it never sleeps. But will you have enough and be able to slip by and get out and save the village? That's what we'll see. So who are you guys playing? Let's start with Chris. What character did you create?
Whoa. Oh, I created a survivalist explorer who calls himself Keanu. He has a trusty nail bat that he's named Annie in one hand. He has a zip gun named Mika in the other. Plus, he's got some wicked ass sports pads that he's rolling. I mean, from his old sporting days, because he used to play.
Of course.
He was an athlete, lettered in football and baseball back in high school, right? But now that's not happening anymore because of the post-apocalypse. And, cranked up a couple of, he's cunning, very cunning. And I built this guy to be, he can look out for things. Like, he can get us through and hopefully can perceive and stealth around and get done.
Excellent.
So, but he does have his trusty companion.
Yes, Tony. Who's accompanying Keanu on this mission?
Well, that would be Rupper. I mean, Pupper.
Pupper. Right?
Keanu's most loyal mutant friend. He follows Keanu everywhere, watches his back, ever since Keanu rescued the canine-looking mutant from pit fighting in a traveling freak show. Pupper has his patented pit bull bite. He kind of looks like a mix between a human and a pit bull, and he's not the smartest, but he's loyal.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad he's on my
Tail
side.
wagging like crazy.
I'm glad
What
Pupper's
tail?
on my side. Holy fuck.
Rupper rough Rianu.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
Him good boss. Ruff.
Yes, I'm sure Keanu keeps his supply of pupper snacks up to date.
Nah, we made sure we rated that PetSmart.
Yeah,
Where we
Rubber has
Smart
food.
stores.
got plenty of canned dog food for the boy. I have a couple cans myself just in case.
There you go.
It's got some vitamins in it.
All right.
So we need to get to this hospital.
That's it. You've headed off into the jungle to get into the hospital.
Okay, so do we need to find the hospital, or do we kind of know where it's at?
Oh no, it's easy to find.
We
There's
know where
lots of
it's at,
rumors
okay.
about where it is. Yeah,
So-
it's just that not a lot of people go in there because they don't come out because of that robot BK357.
Well, I think our approach to this would definitely have to be, we need to see where BK357 is. I mean, we got to scout out the area, right?
Well,
We
that's
can
it. So maybe
sneak her in there.
at least some kind of stealth check together to see if you can manage to find
Okay.
the lab. There's supposed to be a lab with anti-rad meds.
All right. I
Somewhere
got a couple ranks in stealth. I got a 3 agility. And I do have knack for it in stealth as well.
All right.
So don't know if there were going to be any setback dice to this. But what kind of difficulty are we thinking? And is it a group check?
We'll make it a group check, so you can rely on maybe Tony's or Pupper's enhanced senses with perception or vigilance. You know, he's got keen nose and ears.
Yeah.
So give yourself a boost die for that,
Cool.
and it'll be a difficult check, a hard check. Sorry,
Hard check.
hard difficulty, and you've never been here before. Only heard rumors of the layout and stuff, and you've got a very, very crude layout map.
Okay.
So you give yourself 1 setback dice.
Okay.
Because it
But
might
I'll-
not be accurate.
All right. So I'll remove that setback die because I'm making a stealth check. 'Cause
All right.
I got a knack for it, and
Excellent.
this feels like a very important check. So I'm going to spend a story point so we can survive.
Okay, there we go. I am not going to spin a story point just
not.
for now.
Okay, so I have 3 proficiency dice, a boost die, and 3 difficulty die. Here we go. Woohoo! I failed. But I got 2 advantage.
All right. So unfortunately, you've scouted out, but you weren't able to find out where that BK357 is. But
Well, maybe
Maybe
because
with
I
your
failed.
true advantage.
Well, I failed the stealth check. That's the thing. I was making a stealth check, or was it a perception check you wanted me to make?
a mix of, let's say, stealth, because you're while you're entering,
Yep, got it.
you're
Well, I
still
failed.
being wary. All right. So it's a short encounter. You've managed. You don't know where BK357 is,
Okay,
but
but I'm
with your
pretty
true
sure I'm
advantage-
stealthing.
Well, you at least managed to find the shortest route from the entrance you are to the lab,
Oh, good,
which is
good.
a couple of levels underground. The advantage is you found a map on one of the walls. It's like
Get in there.
emergency exit kind of a map.
Sweet.
You are here and
Okay,
able to find it.
and we're looking for radiation medicine.
Yes. So you're
Hey,
in
Ross.
one of the
Yeah,
med bays.
yeah, Pupper.
You-
What do you smell?
You get the meds. I'll watch your back.
There we go.
Sounds good. So I will try and find the meds. Maybe look for a radiation symbol. Maybe the lab that might have it in there.
Well, so you found the actual med lab.
Okay.
That they treated people for whatever ailments that they had after experimenting on them,
Okay.
and
Is the lab open?
there's lots of little. Yeah. It's it's easy to get into. You have your trusty crowbar. Just crunch the rusted chain.
Yes, I do.
There we go, and enter. It's one of those lots of old beds and gurneys. It's dark, but you've got your flashlights,
Okay.
throwing the little lights around.
Okay.
And you've got these little cabinets with the glass doors and recognize the symbols.
Okay. Do I have an idea of how many I need?
Yeah, Dr. Maite's, as many as you can, whatever you can find.
All right, throw it in your backpack.
She gave you one of these little plastic things that's supposed to keep things cool, called igloo, for some reason.
Okay.
So, open that up, pile as many things in.
Cool.
And that's when you start hearing, Pupper ears prick up as you're putting these anti-rad vials and files in there.
Okay.
Oh, there's BK 357.
We hear him coming down the hallway.
So little lights, orange, yellow lights on the other side of those double doors you just went through. As you look through, you see that someone actually maybe have made all the way to this lab and spray painted some graffiti on the inside of the doors. Huge kind of frog with a mutant human penis between its legs.
Nice. Oh, it looks like the Stark Corporation's, what do you call it? Stark Corporation's symbol.
Yeah, exactly. So as this glow comes on the other side of those little tainted or dirty windows, it bursts through those doors, and that big robot that I showed you on the chat shows up.
Uh-oh.
Intruders detected. It scans you. It has 3 eyes underneath its dome, which is very close to his chest. But one of them sort of is off. It's sort of always jittering and not moving as smoothly as the other two.
I'm going to bark and scare it away.
It seems to look at both of you. Like, human detected, threat level low. Mutant detected, threat level high.
I'm barking at it. I'm going to scare it away. Give me a coercion check.
Mutant selected as primary target elimination protocol. So we'll roll initiative. You can roll either cool or vigilance because it's not really surprising.
Yeah.
You were surprised you made it this long without being detected.
There is that. All right, 3 advantage for me, dude. That's all I got.
3 success and a triumph.
Oh!
This guy has the 3, 2 greens and a yellow. So there we go. Roll real quick. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes and 2 advantage. He goes first, I think.
All right.
But someone did a triumph. Tony?
I did.
Tony got triumph.
You get a free maneuver.
Pupper.
All right. Well, was my maneuver? I will bodyguard. I will use my bodyguard talent and protect Keanu.
Did we see another exit out of this room, or were the double doors coming into the lab the only way in?
Unfortunately, they're the only way in.
Okay.
But they're pretty wide, and the robot just stepped in.
Got it.
It's a pretty big room, lots of medical berths. All right, and the hands partly retract, fingers retract or change shape. Out of the left arm, a long blade comes out with spikes and it starts spinning. It's like, chainsaw. Oh, crap. And the other one has some kind of cannon and a little laser sight B is centered now on Pupper's head.
Why are we here?
So it will try to attack Pupper.
I got your back, boss.
With its auto shotgun.
So let me think.
Get out of here with the meds.
So the war was the machine uprising, apparently.
partly machine uprising.
Maybe a post-nuclear as well. Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah.
Holy
it's a big mashup.
Oh yeah.
All right, so 2 difficulty for this range. And do you have any defense on my Pupper?
Nope.
No? All right. So just the 3 yellow, 2 purple. All right.
Okay. So wait. Are you attacking Pupper or Keanu?
Pupper.
Okay.
You're declared as the
attack Keanu,
automatic.
my bodyguard would upgrade the difficulty. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, he's determined that you're the. Since you're a mutant, you're the greater threat.
That's right.
Oh boy!
I passed
All right.
the full bite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I got 2 successes and a threat. So the auto shotgun goes, and that's 8 points of damage.
All right, I'll soak 7 of that, and I'll take 1.
Yeah, and some of the, I guess, ammo gets stuck. He gets maybe a point of strain as his system tries to unclog the ammo.
So this shotgun shell hits the side of my hodgepodge homespun armor.
Nice.
There you go.
You just see it dents in the plate, and you kind of hear a slight from Pupper as it dented the plate.
Okay, well, he's only a rival, so he doesn't have strain, so it gets a wound. There we go.
Alrighty then.
All right. So next up, then it's 2 player slots.
Go for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead, boss. No.
Well, okay, so meds. Rad meds. Do I have them in the igloo, or do I need... I have them?
No, you have them.
I shut the igloo.
You just closed them. Yeah.
I shut the igloo, put it under my arm like a fucking football, and I'm going to run out. I'm going to just run out of here. Just maneuver to get out, and then actually double maneuver, and then use my action to just kind of avoid being hit by the thing.
All right. So you want to try to avoid, maybe that's a kind of a coordination check? As you're trying to maneuver between the robot, the debris, and the door.
That sounds good. Yep.
All right.
Coordination check, and then what kind of difficulty are we talking here?
Maybe opposed by its brawl? I don't know, that might be way too difficult.
Well,
No.
I mean, I am spending my action just to kind of not get hit, so just leaving. So let's see. How big is it? Is it big, or is it like
it's
our
a silhouette 2. Silhouette 2. So it's a bit big. It's taking up a lot of room, but it's clunky. It's obviously it's been there for a long time, so proper maintenance hasn't been done. But let's call it a hard check still.
A hard check? Okay.
Yeah,
That
it's a bit
sounds
dark.
reasonable to me.
Yeah.
I could upgrade it once though, if you'd like, because I am going. Does he have adversary?
It has adversary, so we'll upgrade it
Okay.
once.
Alrighty then.
And because it's got its chainsaw out, and I'm going to spend a story point because you never know.
There we go. Gonna put my strain down because I'm spending 2 maneuvers to get out of here. So, all right. And you said what now?
Hard difficulty.
Yep, hard difficulty, and then for the chainsaw, you were upgrading another one.
Oh, upgrading it, yes, spend a story point.
Okay, so I have a yellow, 2 green, 2 red, and a purple for me to get out of here. Here we go, pulling on my knowledge of being a running back / quarterback.
Yeah,
and gonna get the hell out of here.
Home run! Time for a home run.
Let's see. So those cancel. Complete wash.
Oh, all right. So no successes, no threat, nothing. All right. So you skid off of some wet, some water dripping from above.
I don't make it out of the room, or I get to the other side of them, or what?
You get on one side of them, not quite. So you're on the other side. So the robot is between you and Pupper. But you're not quite.
Okay, sounds good.
On the side of the doors.
Okay. Oh, I see what you mean. I got you. So I'm going around them and kind of the other side. Okay.
Yeah, you had to go around and up and over some stuff. So
there we go. Parkouring the shit out of this lab.
Yeah,
there we go.
Exactly. Pupper.
Okay, I'm gonna charge it using my as an incidental. I'm gonna use my bull rush talent.
All right.
And I'm gonna bite it. I'm just going for its throat.
Doesn't have much of a throat. It's just a head on a torso.
Don't care. Aim it for general direction.
Go for the eyes, boo.
All right. So it's average difficulty, or it's a normal difficulty for melee attack. So it's going to be 2. One of those upgraded for adversary. I happen to have 2 ranks in brawl, and I have a brawn of 5 because Pupper. Well, that's where Pupper's a beefy bastard.
Yeah.
Okay. And it does have 1 defense.
Okay, 1 defense. All right.
You
And
said adversary 1, right? As well?
Yep.
I
You
got
already,
that in there.
calculated
I'm going to
that?
go ahead and because it's getting real close to hitting my bestest friend Keanu, and I can't have that. I just can't have that. So I'm going to upgrade story point.
All right. Okay, story point.
Spend with a story
And-
point. Ready?
And what the hell? I'll spend a story point too because it's important.
Sure. Important stuff. All right.
Yeah.
And thanks.
Here we go. All right. So the 2 red dice were 1 each, a single threat and despair. So that's cancels out a couple of my. So
Okay,
I
good.
had
Successes and advantage.
net 1 success and 6 advantage minus 1. So 5 advantage and a triumph.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's
So,
my
okay.
net. So 1
Okay, so,
success.
1 success, so you do hit.
Yes,
And
which means
bite.
my damage for my bite is going to be 7 plus the 1 success, 8.
All right.
Awesome.
Now, it has a high soak, but you still manage to do at least 1 point as you grip it into it and damage a bit of some components inside.
All right, I'm going to take 3 6. I'm gonna take 3 of those advantage, and I'm gonna get a free maneuver.
Okay.
That maneuver is to activate my berserk talent. So I'm just it's just a bunch of bites that will add an additional success and 2 advantage to the roll.
Okay, so next with damage
So 1 more damage, yeah.
So
and more
now
more
I
advantage.
still have 4 advantage to spend. Bull
Okay.
Rush allows me to spend 3 of those to knock him on his ass, knock him prone.
Nice. That's what we want.
Awesome. So how many successes for that? Or advantages? 3?
3 leaves
Okay,
me with
and-
1 advantage and a triumph.
Okay, the extra advantage, I have an idea where as you bull rush them, you bite, it pulls over, you pull it, and you realize that it was plugged into a power source. The power cable just goes, and suddenly there's a display on its dome where the power bar goes, recharging, cycle, interrupted. Emergency power only.
Oh, nice.
And
It's unplugged. And what about your triumph then?
well, with my triumph, when I knocked it
Falls
down,
over. Yeah, loud mess.
I'd like for its chainsaw arm to get caught in something, like maybe it's stuck in the floor, or
It's stuck onto something like one of those overhead lights for surgery. It crashes, brings it down, and it's all tangled up.
yeah.
Fire.
So it kind of
Sparks are flying all over the place.
Nice.
and then I'm run, boss! I got it! And I'm just ripping away at it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Huh?
All right. So now we're back up to the round. It's its turn.
Yep.
Of course, now it's way too close for its auto shotgun. It'll try to get you with its chainsaw, trying to pull it. But I'll give it at least 2 setback, just because it's all tangled up.
Awesome.
So this is its brawl check. Ooh, gave it lots of brawl. So
Ooh.
4 yellows.
It's trying to hit me with its shotgun.
No, with its chainsaw, but it's all tangled up, so it's trying to pull it out of the tangle, so it's
like
already
to
set back.
say, since I spent a triumph on that it's actually upgraded instead.
Yeah, could upgrade too, but I'm still giving it the 2 setback because it's on the ground as well, trying to hit you, or it's all way too close.
Nice.
All right, so I got a red, a purple, and 4 yellow and 2 black. But you are its target. It
gets an automatic success because of Berserk.
Okay, so we'll keep it at that. Keep it at that. I'm not spending a story point. Do you want to spend a story point?
Yeah. Pupper don't want to die.
No.
All right. So 2 reds instead of a red and a purple. Let's do it. Alrighty then. Real quick. All right. Couple of cancellations there. There you go. Ooh, so we're left with, it fails,
Woohoo.
but with 2 advantage. So it doesn't actually hit you. So it tries to get you with a chainsaw. Sparks are flying all over the place. So sparks are flying instead, even more. Wires are spraying, giving maybe the next person to act a setback dice because of those live wires going all over.
Okay.
I'll go. Get out of here. I'm going to parkour out of here then.
All right.
Coordination,
So you try to get
another coordination check to get out and away.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard with the setback.
Hard with the setback.
But I also have knack for it in coordination. So I picked. So I did 3 ranks in knack for it: survival, coordination, perception, vigilance, and stealth. Yeah, there's a reason why. There's a reason why he's alive.
So that's why, listeners, GMs, don't be afraid to go with those setback dice, especially if your characters have spent XP on those talents.
Yes. Exactly. All right.
It's okay, because then you can just spend a story point to get one of those red dice in there.
Exactly. And you had upgraded it before. All right. Now I'm going to spend a story point. Do we still have one on our player side?
You have 2 on your side.
2? Yep. I'll spend 1 to get out of here. Hopefully I can activate a triumph and help Pupper get away as well.
Right.
Yes, let's go, Pupper. If you can get away, let's go. We can outrun this thing.
And I'll spend 1 because, there's all kinds of things happening.
Because post-apocalyptics and things.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Still, carrying it like a football.
There we go.
Get the hells out of here. Maybe next round. One advantage. One advantage. But I am going to spend my strain to just move away from the thing and leave, if possible. Okay. But I did fail with 1 advantage.
All right. So unfortunately, you didn't. But you're still spending a maneuver. So you're getting closer to the door. You have to be careful of all this. There's water and electricity. That's not a good combination, at least.
Okay. So being extra careful. But I do have Swift. So if it's difficult terrain, I could still kind of get through. But
okay.
I would like. Right, I think maybe the sparks. I kind of with the advantage. One of the lines come and I kind of as I kick off a piece of equipment, it sends something into the sparks and it kind of sparks in this thing's face, kind of fucking up its ability to view something. So Pupper's next check will have a boost die.
All right.
So he's going to have a little bit of advantage on his.
That's it. So a little bit of feedback on the on BK357.
There you go. A little bit.
All right. Excellent.
Pupper, as an incidental, I'm going to activate my grapple talent. Now this thing ain't getting away from me. And that's going to cost me 2 strain.
Right.
So I'm at 3 strain now. And then I'm going to grab a hold of its chainsaw arm and try and drive it into its head.
Oh, shit.
With a brawl check.
All right.
So I've got my dice. I've got 1 adversary added in. I've got the melee defense added in. I've got my dice as normal. And I am going to, because I really want Keanu to get away, I'm going to spend my last story point there.
Yep.
And upgrade my check.
All right. Well, you guys still have 2 story points because I spent 1 also.
Oh, okay. So
all right.
Now we only have 1. All right.
All right.
So you spent 1 on this check also?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Now we have 2.
Awesome.
All right. And got that. And I got my boost die from Keanu. And I'm going to spend my maneuver to aim.
Nice.
Cool.
Really focusing on driving the...
Yeah.
Sweet! All right, so my setback die and 1 of my red dice came back blank, which is always good. But both of my boost dice came back blank too, which sucks. But anyhow. So grand total, with its weapon, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Awesome.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 advantage.
Holy crap.
All right, so 5.
I'm adding the 1 success, the 2 advantage for my Berserker talent,
Okay.
Awesome.
which lasts the entire encounter.
Right. So how much damage total?
I don't know what the weapon does.
Oh, his damage chainsaw does 8.
8 plus 4, 12 damage.
12 damage. Pierce 2.
Oh.
So it reduces its soak by 2. It's only 8. And how many successes? Sorry.
5.
Total 12 damage.
12 damage.
12 damage. Okay, 12 minus 5. All right. There we go. All right, so it's damaged, severely damaged. And if you want, with all those advantages, it's just twitching and dancing all over the place now.
Oh, I'm going to immobilize it.
Yeah, it's just you can easily step over it and join Keanu and escape.
Excellent.
Excellent.
And as you step,
So I grabbed the chainsaw arm and I was trying to get it to come down towards its head, but it was pulling the other direction. So I just went and brought it down on its leg, and it gets all jammed up in its leg, and the chainsaw stops.
And you leave.
And so I don't know how many advantage that was.
we'll say it'll use all of it, just including with your move to get just up and over.
All right.
You hop on its head.
All right, so I just leap off of it and go after the boss, and I'm grinning next to him. We did it.
You bite the back of my collar and just drag me out. Right? And we get away.
Maybe a couple of its the advantages that it had a micro missile launcher. It pops open, and instead of firing, it just explodes.
Self-destruct, says it, hoping last ditch effort to get me.
A micro missile launcher too?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, dude! I'm like thinking, I could have a nail bat and a zip gun. Didn't know there were micro missile launchers we could salvage. Fuck. Chainsaws, dude. That was rocking, dude. That was fun.
There we go.
Yay!
Rubber meat robot. Rubber.
Yes. I'm hoping to have fun, even if it's a big weapon. It's like, but
That just goes to show you can build a character who doesn't need weapons.
no, exactly. So there are other ways of defeating your opponent.
He is a weapon. Pupper is a weapon, and good thing he's on Keanu's side. I think with that, maybe we end the show. Wrap it up.
That was Advantageous Threats. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thanks, Stefan. Well done, buddy.
Thank you. All right, so that was our post-apocalyptic show. We managed to survive it with various degrees of success, and we avoid getting spanked. I'd like to do just one of the little shout out to one of our affiliated shows. Today, Imaginary Ramblings with Matthew Jones and his friend Ben. They talk about all kinds of things of society at large, enemy, villain motivations, and things like that. They're all over the place, but they're always entertaining, and it's fairly short episodes, usually 30 to 40 minutes, so easy to listen to. So give them a listen on the Nerds International Network.
Cool. Well, our
Anything
next
else,
show...
Chris?
Yeah. So our next show, we're going to be interviewing Guillaume Tardif on his Inquisition setting. That's on Genesis Foundry. We'll put a link in the show notes there for that. Which we did play the actual play in that setting last time. So Guillaume, hopefully we will ping your brain and see what you thought of our actual play there. And I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun.
Awesome.
All right. Well, if you have any questions for Guillaume about his setting or about him in general, please feel free to email us at findingthenarrativepodcast@gmail.com. Contact myself and Stefan on Facebook at Finding the Narrative. You can reach out to all three of us on Nerds International or in the Finding the Narrative Mayway. You can talk to all three of us in the chat over there. very quickly. We usually respond within an hour or two.
Something like that.
Because you don't have lives.
If you have strictly a French-speaking question that I will never learn, you can contact Stefan over Twitter. He will gladly translate that question into English for the rest of us retards. And
with pictures,
will,
if I
sorry. Linguistically challenged. I'm sorry. And he will. That's at FTN_Genesis. And this is Tony saying, let's tell a story and spend a story point.
And this is Stefan saying, don't dare. No, don't. Not that. No, actually dare to ask for a boost dice.
And this
Although
is...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Stefan.
Although my friends right now doing the Advantageous Threat didn't really ask that for that many boost dice, but whatever.
No, we figured you'd just give them out for free.
Yeah.
But you didn't. So that's okay.
You
But
have to
do
ask.
remember, not only do you ask for those boost dice, but remember the rule of cool. Always have your trusty mutant puppy with you when you go into the post-apocalypse and just have one.
Right.
Get a crowbar.
That's right. And good night, everybody.
Good night.
Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast, is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned on this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or appear on our website are the property and copyright of their respected owners. All items are used under fair use and educational and review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved.